Utah legislature will hold a special session after Governor Cox vetoes a transgender student athlete bill.
Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart.
A member of the Quorum of the 12 speaks to BYU students and faculty about the two Great Commandments.
The separation of powers is crucial.
Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson in the hot seat again for day 3 of her historic Supreme Court confirmation hearing.
Welcome to Universe Live. I'm Samantha Burrell.
And I'm Hassan El-Sheikh. It's Wednesday, March 23rd.
Expect another long day in the hot seat for President Joe Biden's Supreme Court nominee as her historic confirmation hearing continues.
Today, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is facing another round of questioning from U.S. senators.
The separation of powers is crucial to liberty. It is what our country is founded on.
Brown Jackson talked this morning about the most important defenses to guard against the abuse of executive power. She also responded to criticism of her empathy on the bench, specifically the way she spoke to defendants as a judge. Tomorrow marks the last hearing for the Supreme Court nominee with a testimony from the American Bar Association and other witnesses.
Senator Mike Lee questioned Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson on day 2 of her hearing before the Senate Judiciary Committee.
We want to make sure that they have the power, the authority, the discretion, and the confidence to issue a decision that they might not be comfortable with.
Lee asked Brown Jackson's thoughts on the 9th Amendment, which states that rights are not listed in the Constitution belong to citizens.
We look to the time of the founding, and we ascertain, based on what the original public meaning of the words of the Constitution were at the time.
Lee tried to understand Brown Jackson's philosophies through the perspective of the Constitution and the work of the founding father, Alexander Hamilton. Lee also asked about Brown Jackson's thoughts on letting the law determine the outcome of a case rather than a case determining the law.
Senator Mitt Romney also commented on accusations against Judge Brown Jackson's sentences in child pornography cases. Speaking to a reporter with the Washington Post, Romney said that it struck me that it was off course, meaning the attacks were off course that came from some. The accusations were made in the hearing when Brown Jackson was asked about her giving lesser sentences historically to defendants in child pornography cases. In the hearing, Brown Jackson expressed that these criticized cases do not take into consideration how pornography is transferred.
A special legislative session will be held on Friday after Governor Cox vetoed a transgender athlete bill. Cox expressed in a letter that the bill would target 4 specific kids who are looking for connection and community. He also emphasized that transgender athletes are not dominating, winning, or taking scholarships in their sports here in Utah. State legislative leaders quickly announced a meeting at 2 p.m. this Friday to potentially override the governor's decision. The veto override will require support from 2/3 of both the Senate and the House.
An LGBTQ advocacy group expressed their support for Governor Cox's decision to veto the transgender athlete bill. Equality Utah released a letter saying, "Today, Utah's governor placed children over politics. In an act of moral courage, Governor Spencer Cox became the 2nd Republican governor in the country to veto a total ban on transgender children participating in school sports." Equality Utah also expressed in the letter that they feel the legislature has betrayed their trust. They plan to continually protect the legal rights of transgender children and will seek justice in court if the veto is overridden. The American Civil Liberties Union of Utah says they are ready to sue if the legislature overturns the governor's veto of the transgender athletes bill. The ACLU released letters yesterday thanking Governor Cox for protecting transgender students. It says that the ACLU is open to a lawsuit and that the bill violates rights of due processes and equal protection. The ACLU says, quote, "The last thing these young people need are more speeches, headlines, and bills proclaiming them to be threats instead of valued members of their communities."
2 Salt Lake City police officers are attacked at the airport, and it was all caught on camera. The first assault happened on The first assault happened on February 17th, where a 28-year-old man rushed past TSA officers screening passengers. He was stopped by a police officer, but punched and kicked the officer and resisted arrest. The officers later confirmed that the man did not have a plane ticket. The second assault happened on March 12th, where a 33-year-old man suddenly dropped his luggage and punched a police officer in the head on the lower level concourse. The man tried to punch the second officer, but immediately surrendered to police. Police officers took the man into custody on a charge of assaulting a police officer.
Students of Maple Mountain High School are evacuated when a fire breaks out near the wood shop. According to the Spanish Fork Public Safety Department, the Spanish Fork Fire Department went to the school on Tuesday because the woodshop's dust collector unit caught fire. Smoke filled the school, but the fire didn't spread. The department says that repairs to the dust collector caused the fire. The Public Safety Department estimates that the fire cost $50,000 in damages. It took crews 32 minutes to put out the fire, and one firefighter was taken to the hospital for burns, but is now released. Despite the fire, students are still attending classes today.
A woman is cited for driving with an obstructed windshield. The 23-year-old woman was stopped Monday morning by Utah County deputy who saw that she was, quote, slightly obstructed. The car the woman was driving had a windshield that was covered in snow. The deputy says the snow was not frozen and could have easily been wiped off. The woman told the deputy she did not want to be late to work.
A member of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints addresses BYU students during yesterday's devotional. Elder D. Todd Christofferson spoke on the significance of the order of the two great commandments mentioned in Matthew chapter 22. He encouraged students to focus on the first commandment of loving God.
The bottom line is that God commands us to love Him because of what He knows it will do for us.
He promised that as students love and follow God, they are better able to love and serve their neighbor. Elder Christofferson suggested students can follow the first commandment by keeping other commandments, feeding the Lord's sheep, feasting on God's words, and being accountable to God.
The Cougars will host Washington State tonight in the NIT quarterfinals.
Nell for three. Yes, Trevin Nell with his second triple. The Cougs have 8 threes here in the first half.
Tonight's game is the last home game of the season and is sure to keep fans on the edge of their seats. The Cougars are fighting for a spot in the NIT semifinals at Madison Square Garden in New York City. With the lower bowl of the Marriott Center already sold out, Cougar Nation is ready to show their support. You can still buy tickets in the upper bowl at vividseats.com. Fans can also tune in via BYU Radio or ESPN.
Two Spanish Fork police dogs performed with officers in the Las Vegas K-9 trials. Both K-9 Iceman and K-9 Maverick unleashed their skills on the competition this past weekend. These trials helped K-9 teams learn new ways to train their police dogs and help the public understand the purpose and responsibilities of the K-9 program. The dogs sniffed out crime and narcotic detection and performed possibly the best obedience and agility. Their competition might as well roll over after these K-9's performances at several patrol-based scenarios. Iceman and Maverick deserve a round of applause.
Caught on camera, a brazen robbery in broad daylight in Beverly Hills. Find out what the thieves were after.
The president is traveling to Europe to ensure we stay.
We'll tell you what Biden's goals are for his emergency meeting with NATO.
It's Oreo Cookie's birthday. Find out how the old company is turning and how you can win prizes.
What this tornado means for people in the South.
My mother was always very familiar with her neighborhood, but one day she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual, and she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn, and she wasn't even really sure where she was at. It was very unsettling for her.
I felt so much better after my son told me, "Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out."
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
President Joe Biden is traveling to Brussels, Belgium today. He'll meet with NATO leaders and other allies tomorrow to address the war in Ukraine.
Amy Kiley takes a look at 3 objectives of his trip.
The president is traveling to Europe to ensure we stay united on all 3 critical fronts: helping the Ukrainian people defend themselves, imposing and increasing costs on Russia, and reinforcing the Western alliance.
President Joe Biden is flying to Brussels today for an emergency NATO summit on Ukraine tomorrow. The White House says his first objective is to help the Ukrainians. Ukraine says some 100,000 people are trapped in the besieged city of Mariupol.
I've got elderly parents and 4 pets that I will not leave. Thanks to good people and people who helped, it became possible.
Other Ukrainians are battling to protect the capital Kyiv and other cities. And the UN says more than 3.5 million refugees have fled to neighboring countries to escape the fighting.
I have a little baby. I love my family. I had plans, and now I don't have plans.
Biden's second goal is to help impose further costs on Russia for its actions.
You know who is ordering war and who is promoting it. Almost all of them use Italy as a holiday resort. So do not be a resort for them.
The trip is also to show that the U.S. stands with its allies.
The closer you are to this Russian threat, the more real it is and the more frightening it is. And so what's happening in Ukraine, people in the Baltic states like Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, they can see it happening there.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
A video recording from a passing car shows a smash and grab at a Beverly Hills jewelry store. You can see here 6 people wearing black and gray hoodies, t-shirts, and face masks. The video shows them pulling away broken glass after hitting the display with sledgehammers. The group fills their arms with jewelry on display. Each person takes off running one by one as they grab as much as they can. The robbery appears to have occurred in broad daylight.
A man wrestles a suspected shoplifter at the Walgreens in the Bay Area.
The separation of powers is crucial to liberty. It is what our country is founded on, and it's important.
The man reports seeing the suspect leave the store and throwing him to the ground. The struggle went on for more than 2 minutes. During the confrontation, the suspect calls out to a friend who comes up behind the man and tries to put him in a headlock. The man loses his shoe, and both suspects run to the getaway car nearby. According to police, the stolen merchandise was recovered, and Walgreens will not seek prosecution.
The iconic Oreo cookie turns 110 today.
Abby Gunderson is here to fill us in on the sweet celebrations. Abby?
That's right, Milk's favorite cookie is turning 110. Oreo was invented in 1912 by Nabisco in New York City. Over the last 110 years, Oreo has released more than 85 different flavors and countless renditions of the original classic, including Oreo frozen treats, Oreo Jell-O and pudding, and the recently revived Oreo Cakesters. This year, to celebrate their birthday, Oreo released a limited edition chocolate confetti cake flavor, which features the classic chocolate cookies and 2 layers of cream filling, 1 confetti and 1 chocolate. Oreo is not the only one to have a landmark birthday. Merle Millicent Romney O'Hara of Vancouver, Canada, also turned 110 years old. Her Instagram features a photo of her with the celebratory Oreos. Birthdays aside, unique art made of Oreos has been showing up on social media. Instagram dog Louie's Got Booties shared this adorable self-portrait made of Oreos. And Pattern.com solidifies America's love for Oreos in their findings. The data science group found that classic Oreos ranked highest in 2021 Amazon US marketplace purchases. Pistachio Oreos, unsurprisingly, came in last. Happy birthday, Oreo. Hope it's a slam dunk.
The bright spring weather is bringing some not so cheerful conditions to the south. Take a look at this video from WDSU in New Orleans. This tornado appeared live on TV. The National Weather Service of New Orleans says the tornado touched down Tuesday evening. Crews are assessing damage in the area, and many residents lack power. A tornado also touched down in Mississippi, and others ran through parts of Texas. Authorities are asking all living in the areas to take shelter. Thankfully, it's not quite so windy here in Utah, and the winds we do have come from a high-pressure trough, meaning warm temperatures and dry conditions. You can see on our map of Utah that temperatures are just getting warmer, warming up to 10 to 12 degrees above normal, and some of the warmest temperatures of the year are on their way this weekend. But don't put your coats away yet. Early next week, a trough from the northwest will send in another cold front and a small chance of rain. Looking at our temperatures across the state today, we can see it's only going to get warmer this weekend. We're looking at highs in the 60s throughout central Utah and highs in the 70s in southern Utah. Because of the lack of cloud coverage, those temperatures are going to drop up to 30 degrees at night, so keep your hats and gloves handy. Looking at temperatures across the south in our 5-day weather forecast, we can see that highs are just going to stay in the 80s all weekend long. Lows again dropping down to those cool 50s, and sweet sunshine warming up the skies all weekend long. Moving up north to our 5-day forecast, we can see similar beautiful weather, 75 and 80 degree highs as well as lows in the 50s. Except for that small chance of rain on Monday, all clear and sunny skies. So maybe take your weekend plans outdoors this weekend, even if it's just studying with your finals buddies.
Yeah, maybe eat some chocolate confetti Oreos with that too.
Yeah, you can have a picnic.
Well, how about this? Hey, if you guys like chocolate-covered Oreos, here's another story for you. The Easter Bunny's got a new surprise in his basket this year: customizable Peeps. The Pennsylvania-based candy company will let you customize 3 aspects of your Peeps. You choose the color yellow, pink, or blue. Then select a dip that sits on the bottom half of the chick. The dip choices are a dark, milk, or white chocolate. Finally, choose a topping: round confetti, sprinkles, nonpareil sprinkles, crushed cookie, crushed pretzel, chocolate chips, or toasted coconut. Customizations are available at peepsandcompany.com.
Thanks for joining us today for Universe Live.
For more information on our stories or to share them with your friends, check out our website at universe.byu.edu.
Have a great day.
Have a great day.